One of the first scores I wrote for a short film was back in 2015 or 16, and it was for a short film called Life. Life is an interesting story. It's about a guy just trying to make breakfast. And he goes through all these hurdles and things, which makes it for quite a comedic experience. And so I wrote this music. It was a silent film, which made it a really interesting project, and it was commissioned by Access Contemporary Music for their Sound of Silent Film Festival. And so it was performed live for the first time at the Music Box Theater with the Palomar Ensemble. So back when I wrote this, I wrote it all in Finale. I didn't use a DAW, and I would kind of watch the video, get the timing sense, and then compose it with kind of an idea and tempo in mind. And the piece starts out because it's like a story of a guy just starting his regular work week. So there's a nice kind of mundane piano piece, very impressionist kind of Eric Satie music. And as the story goes, a lot unfolds, things get kind of crazy, and it was really fun to work with the comedic elements of a silent film. There's no dialogue, so that means there's a ton of space for music. In the ensemble, I had flute, clarinet, violin, cello, piano, and percussion. It's an interesting ensemble. The percussion was very small. The piano was going to be an upright piano at the Music Box Theater, and this left a lot of space for kind of the upper register, but I had to do a lot of interesting sound effects to kind of support the film because there were no other sound effects besides the sounds coming from the ensemble. So one spot in particular that I really enjoyed writing for, there's a jar rolling and it's gonna eventually fall and splatter all over the floor. So the percussion is kind of keeping time going. We have the cello and the violin doing these slow glissandi down. We have trills in the winds, and then the piano is kind of doing a metronomic acceleration. With a piece like this in comedy, I try to stay out of the way so that there's plenty of space for laughter from the audience and not kind of jamming things down. It's a little different than the soundtrack I wrote for a different silent film called The Hipster and the Cat, where there's a lot of pauses to kind of build up the awkwardness of the exchange between the characters. But because this is just a guy on its own, it's a little bit more cartoony with the music. Another one of my favorite moments is after kind of a lot goes wrong for our lead character as he's trying to prepare his breakfast. He kind of just gets super determined. So I decided to do a piccolo and snare drum duet, kind of like an old school march, like a Civil War themed march. So it's a fun play, and every time the audience hits that moment, I get a great laughter, which is so much fun. Of course, Nick Bolton's acting is impeccable in this short film, and I'm hopeful that the music kind of supports the sarcasm and the jest underneath all of that. Towards the end of the piece, it gets pretty crazy and very over the top. The character's diving into a cabinet. We really build it up with this violin going all over the place. We have big, broad, long notes building up to when he gets the honey that he's looking for. We have a triumphant key change here, so we get the main theme back, and he's kind of the hero, and then it lands with a big old thud. Eventually, we return back to the kind of mundane music, the very simple piano melody, And it was really fun to get to write this piece for ACM and Palomar Ensemble. I loved the film and I loved the comedy of it, and it was really easy to kind of find the comedy in the music for this film just because the story is so over the top and, like I said, like very cartoony. So I hope you enjoy Life. So you can watch this online, or you could also attend the Sound of Silent Film Festival, so be sure to check out Life.